Let's see if that does it. Wait for confirmation here. Let me know if you can see and or hear me right now, chat. Alright. Looks like everything's working. Alright, excellent. Hello, Claire. Hello, Lenina, Kodali, Ken. How are you doing? Great to have you here, Ken. Welcome, welcome, everybody, to Paleontologizing. So good to have you here. And I'm proud to be streaming to you live from wild and beautiful western Wyoming here, near the town of Green River, where we are digging up some dinosaurs live. We just rolled into camp last night, kind of late last night, so we're still kind of getting things together, and yeah, just getting started here. So summer is just beginning, and I'm glad you're here to join us. Anyway, if anybody's here for the very first time, or maybe the second time, if you saw the live stream with me and Jim Kirkland from earlier in the week, well, welcome to Paleontologizing. Let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. You hopefully already know what a paleontologist is, a fossil scientist. I work on dinosaur fossils in particular, and that's what we're digging up here in Wyoming. This is what I do for like 2 or 3 months out of the year, pretty much every year since 2011. Doing field work, collecting dinosaur fossils, and you know, we wouldn't have dinosaur fossils to study if we didn't dig them up in the first place. So it's often hard work, but it takes place in some beautiful spots, and I am privileged to be able to do this and to share it with you today. We're streaming to you live via the magic of satellite internet. Let me show you the setup real quick. Yeah. There's our satellite dish, our solar panels, our router, and then the solar battery. I've got it covered up so it's not in direct sunlight, but that is right there. So yeah, that's how we're able to broadcast from such a remote locale. And hopefully the visuals and the sound are all good right now. Let me know if there's any issue with especially the sound.
Ontogeny.
At least I can do something about that. I can alter the volume. Can't necessarily do anything about the picture apart from cleaning off the lens. But it's great to have you here. And Kodali, thank you for the 27 months of support. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. And Gut says, is it hot there? No, it's really nice today. It's got to be in like the 70s. It'll get hot later in the summer, especially when I'm in Utah. It'll be maybe 115 Fahrenheit later in the summer down near Moab, Utah. But here, near Green River, Wyoming, it is a beautiful, I'd say, maybe 75 degrees right now. It's wonderful. Yeah. But yeah. Great to see you here, everybody. Claire Burr, Arle, Davis says, so there may be dinosaur bones here? No, there definitely are. We're at a, well, let me show you the site. Right up there. Got a few crew members up there already working. Did some overburden this morning, which is removing some of the overlying rock so we can get down to the bone layer. This is a site that we worked last year, almost exactly 1 year ago. We dug up a horned dinosaur here, some of the frill bones from that animal, and there's a good chance it's a new species or a new genus. So we're very excited about that. We've come back with our excavation permits so we can move a lot of rock, and hopefully we can find more of this animal so that we can publish on it and, you know, tell the world all about it. So yeah. And Bebop Becca says, where is Nick? Talking about Nick up there? We'll go see him in a minute. Yeah, I just met Nick the other day. Good guy. Anyway, it's good to have you here, Bebop Becca. How are you doing? Welcome. Glad you could be here. Nick said he might have some family and friends watching, so glad you're here. Yeah. And we had somebody up there. Oh yeah, Highway Ranger. Thank you, Claire, for reposting that. Highway Ranger says, I'm very skeptical dinosaurs existed. Whose bones do you think we're finding? Or looked the way they are portrayed. Maybe you can talk me in how everything works? Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. The whole point of these broadcasts is to be able to do science outreach. You know, it's one thing to tell people how things work. It's another thing to show them. It's the whole point of me doing this, is to help kind of walk you through the process. And I'll be streaming, hopefully, almost every day in June, and then for about half of July and about half of August from the field. So I can kind of walk you through how we dig up dinosaurs and how this fieldwork thing, works. But yeah. So anyway, Highway Ranger, I'm glad you're here. And if you've got any specific questions, it's a broad one. Shoot, just saying like, oh, I'm not sure about the whole dinosaur thing. Well, stay tuned. I think you'll have a lot of fun here, and you'll definitely learn a lot. So welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. But yeah. Anywho, and Casey Snowart, how are you doing? Welcome, Casey. Hope you've been doing well. It's good to see you. We're just kind of waiting for more people to trickle in at the moment. But yeah. Anywho, welcome. Let me kind of lay the groundwork for what we're doing here real quick. Let me set the stage, geologically speaking. So the rocks that we're in right now are from what we call the Almond Formation. A geological formation is like a set of rocks that are all from the same time and the same place, and they represent like an ancient environment. When you had rock being laid down, and then all of these remains of ancient living things being preserved in those rocks as fossils. So you may have heard of the Hell Creek Formation, home to Triceratops and T-Rex, up in places like Montana and the Dakotas. Maybe you've heard of the Morrison Formation of like Colorado and Utah, surrounding areas, with like Apatosaurus, aka Brontosaurus, Allosaurus, Stegosaurus. This is the Almond Formation, which is not very well known, and that's the reason why we're digging here. Almost any dinosaur that we find here is probably going to be something new, because these rocks have never really been very thoroughly explored, and there's never been a single dinosaur named from the Almond Formation, even though we have dinosaur fossils that we know come out of here. We found a bunch last year and in previous years, and so we're continuing that work this year. This year we've got some excavation permits, so we're digging some big holes and already finding some dinosaur bones, so I'll show you some of those in a minute. But, yeah. Ludenhoff says, did any dinosaur hunt T-Rex? Oh, yeah. T-Rex doesn't start off super big. They hatch out of eggs. There would have been other meat-eating dinosaurs that would have certainly hunted young T-Rex. Absolutely. Yeah. Just like how there are, animals that hunt lions today. Usually when the lions are young and small. Oh, yeah. This is in Wyoming. Hopefully you can see, Davis. There should be a thing in the upper right or left-hand corner. Hopefully you can see that. I might need to change the opacity if it's a little bit too transparent. But this is in southwest Wyoming, near the town of Green River. Yeah. Nick's fans are rallied. Awesome. We'll go up and see Nick in a minute here. But yeah. It wants to be a bit darker? Okay, Claire. I can make that happen, I think. I'll have to break out the big laptop that has Photoshop on it, but I think I can make that happen. Or maybe if I just double up that layer, that'll do it. I'll try that later. That'll be easier. Anywho. But yeah. And would humans survive the Mesozoic? I don't see why not, guys. Yeah, I don't know. People survive alongside all kinds of dangerous animals. So yeah. And poo rags on a spin cycle. Try not to fall over here. Pog Dino Digging channel. Oh yeah, welcome. It's good to have you here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and go take a brief look at the quarry, I guess. And meet some of the crew. Yeah. Nick, you've already got fans watching. Yep.
Anyone specific?
Let's see. Bebop Becca?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
You want to say hi?
Hi, Becca.
Yeah. So we've got Nick and James. Still learning everybody's names, so apologies if... Okay, good. I'm glad I got that right. But yeah, James is from Utah. Nick here is from Pennsylvania. And then our returning champion, Quinn. How you doing, Quinn? It's good to see you.
Everybody?
Yeah. And then Dr. Glenn Storrs from Cincinnati.
Howdy, howdy.
Yeah, got a big shot here with us, which is awesome. Yeah.
But I'm only 5'9".
You don't have to. You're on camera. You could say that you're 6'11", and people wouldn't be able to tell. We don't have a scale bar. Yeah. But yeah, this is our ceratopsian quarry. So those of you who were here last summer, you saw at the beginning of our broadcast back in June, us digging up this horned dinosaur right here. We had a nice frill basically right there where Glenn is sitting. And this year, since we've got a proper excavation permit, that means we can dig a great big hole and see if we can find more of that animal. So that's what we're doing right here. We just got started today. So the quarry doesn't really look like much yet, but we're already getting little bits and pieces of cool vertebrate fossil material. We've got some turtle pieces that are starting to emerge, which is exciting. And then Quinn might also have maybe a bit more dinosaur right there too. Yeah.
Could be frail.
Yeah.
It's running pretty short right now.
Yeah.
I got really excited seeing this piece right here, and then started moving this whole shelf back, and now
Yeah.
it's starting to run out right around here. But
Nice.
yeah.
Can you point to the bone again for all the nice people in it?
So if you look right here, this is all bone. I've been trying to make a nice pedestal out of.
Yeah. Nice. As you can tell, it's slow going work, but we love doing it. Yeah. And no coprolites yet at this site, Final Gamer James, but one can always hope. For those of you not in the know, coprolites are fossil dung, and they can be remarkably informative. Oh, we got two little lizards chasing each other. Did you see that?
Yeah, fence lizards.
Hello, hello. Right there. Oh, missing part of your tail, are you? See that blue belly? Probably a male. We've got the blue belly. Nice. We shouldn't be harassing the local one. Yeah, see, he's right under the rock right there. How you doing? Yeah. Yeah. And thank you, Casey, for reposting that question from Zingo Finch. How do you come to target this area specifically? I'm assuming it's more than guesswork. Yeah, so it's funny. This is almost kind of a forgotten area for dinosaurs. Back in the 1930s, 1937, I think it was, Barnum Brown, one of the most famous of the dinosaur hunters of the early 20th century, the guy who discovered T-Rex, he worked here. And he found a number of different dinosaurs and never named any of them, never described any of them, which is kind of odd. He just had so many other things to work on at the time that he just never really got around to it, nor did anybody else at the American Museum of Natural History where he worked. But where's my Barnum Brown photo? There he is right there. Classic photo of old Barnum Brown with a nice rib there in a plaster jacket. You guys will see plenty of plaster jackets being built this summer. But that's how we get those fossils safely out of the ground, is we build a plaster jacket around them. Kind of like a protective cocoon to get the fossil out of the ground without breaking it, without it crumbling to dust. So we can get it safely back to the laboratory where that jacket can be opened and cleaned, the fossil bone can be consolidated, and then the critter can be studied. So yeah. So anyway, Barnum Brown was working out here in the 1930s, and nobody's really... A few people have come back since then to try to relocate some of his old sites, but nobody had much luck finding anything until our expedition leader, Ethan Cowgill, came back a few years ago with some friends and just decided to go what we call prospecting. You just walk along and you look for bits of fossil bone that are eroding out of the ground. And Ethan managed to find a bunch of sites, Ethan and his crew. And so we've been coming back for the past, this is my second year here. And we keep finding more and more things. And what's really exciting about this is since no dinosaurs have ever been named from the Almond Formation, from this particular age of rocks in this particular place, just about anything that we find here stands a really good chance of being new. A new genus or new species. And here we've got a ceratopsian dinosaur. So a horned dinosaur. Not too different, I guess, in the grand scheme of things from a dinosaur like Triceratops right there. Ceratopsians, we've got, this is just, I don't know, maybe half of the ceratopsians that we know of today. Different horn and frill shapes, huge diversity of different morphologies in these critters. And we've got one that looks, so far it's looking a lot like this guy. Kind of like Pentaceratops, or a close relative. But yeah, we need to find more of it to really figure this thing out. So yeah. And Das Shift says, I am so happy to have found this channel. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Let me know if you've got any questions. And every single one of those makes a great hat rack. I would agree, except some of them are a little big for that. And some you'd have difficulty hanging hats on, maybe like Ionosaurus right here. You might have difficulty getting your hat to stay on that part, but on these those big frill spikes, big epis back there, I guess that would work. Yeah. Which one of these would make the best hat rack? Maybe like Spiclipius or Sinoceratops? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Guess it depends on what kind of hats you have. And how do these dinosaurs get preserved? Asks the Coffee Man Ken. Great question. So what the strata that we're digging in right now are it's kind of an organic rich mudstone. And so it probably represents maybe the bottom of an ancient lake or something like that. Maybe like a swampy kind of terrain. But we've got lots of pieces of ancient plant material that are just kind of spread throughout this. And so yeah, this dinosaur died in or near a swamp or kind of a swampy lake. And over time, sediment covered it up. You had like minerals in the groundwater that seeped into the bones and then turned the bones into fossils. That permineralized them. So replaced a lot of the organic material in the bones with rock-like mineral. Kind of essentially turned the bones partway to stone. That's what fossilization is. Yeah. But yeah. And, is Triceratops a bird too? That's a great question. So, yeah, Triceratops, like Lenina says, is on the opposite side of the dinosaur family tree from birds. Let me show you. I got some visual aids. I'll just take these out of the crate and put them somewhere where they're not going to blow away. Yeah, let's grab a... I knew I would get questions like this, and so I made these laminated sheets to help out. There we go. Yeah, this is a really, really nifty, kind of simple phylogeny, evolutionary family tree from 252mya.com, I think. You can buy this as a poster. It's excellent stuff. I use this all the time when I'm not in the field as well. Triceratops, lucky enough, is right here. It's the representative they chose for the ceratopsids, or ceratopsians in general, the horned dinosaurs and their relatives. So these guys are at the opposite end of the dinosaur family tree from birds. In fact, they're so far from birds, while still being dinosaurs, that sometimes Triceratops is used to define what a dinosaur is along with birds. So the way that we as scientists classify living things is called phylogeny, The way that we classify living things is not based on visual similarities, it's not based on vibes, it's based on their ancestry, what they actually evolved from. When we talk about living things being related to each other, we mean they are literally related to one another. Like they share a common ancestor. In the same way that you're related to, say, your cousins, well, you share a common ancestor with your cousins. You have the same grandparents as your cousins, or at least some of the same grandparents. It's the same with dinosaurs. So dinosaurs are basically everything that evolved from this dinosaur ancestor here. If you evolved from this, you are a dinosaur, including birds. Now, Triceratops is on the opposite end of the family tree from birds, so one way to make like a definition for Dinosauria is to say that Dinosauria is all of the creatures, it's Triceratops, it's modern birds, it's their common ancestor, and all of the ancestors of that, all the descendants of that common ancestor. Does that make sense? So, Triceratops at one end, birds on the other, and then their common ancestor and everything that evolved from that common ancestor. That's what a dinosaur is. Does that make sense?
Ontogeny.
I hope it does. I dearly wish this sort of thing were, taught in schools here in the U.S., but it's usually not, even though it's absolutely fundamental to modern biology. But yeah. And Graham Cracker Crust, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Casey Snowart, for reposting that from Mommy Does. The junior drywall paleontologist wants to know if you will find a Triceratops this summer. Not this summer, because we're digging in rocks that are older than Triceratops. Triceratops, oops, let me not stand in front of the satellite dish. Don't want to cut off our signal. So Triceratops is from the very end of the age of dinosaurs. We're in rocks that are older than Triceratops. But we are currently digging at a site where we have got what could potentially be an ancestor of Triceratops. It's older than Triceratops, before Triceratops in time, but it's a member of the same family. A member of the Ceratopsidae, the horned dinosaurs. And particularly within the Ceratopsidae, this is what we call a chasmosaurine ceratopsian, we think. So it's one of the guys with kind of the squared off frill instead of the more round frill like you have in centrosaurians. So anyway, long story short, I'm not going to dig up any Triceratops this summer because these rocks are from before Triceratops even lived. But we're digging up a horned dinosaur that's very closely related to Triceratops. Maybe think of it as like a great-great-great-great-grandmother
Ontogeny.
or grand aunt of Triceratops. Does that make sense? Yeah. Great question, by the way. But yeah. Anywho, thank you all for the resubscriptions, everything. Dilopha Mesnoris, thank you for that. Yeah. You did a science? Let's see. Oh, very cool, Dinosaur Dave. That's really neat. Yeah, cool stuff. Good to have you here, Dinosaur Dave. I hope you're are you still out on your road trip right now? Nice. Anywho, it's so good to have everybody here. So yeah, again, we're working in the Late Cretaceous almond formation, about 73 million years old.
Ontogeny.
And that, where the crew is sitting up there, where the bones are that we found last year. We collected as many of those as we could, but we've got to come back. We didn't have our permits to be able to dig these up, dig a great big hole last year. So this year we've got our permits, our excavation permits, and yeah, we're going to move a lot of rock and hopefully find a lot of horned dinosaur bones. But yeah. Road trip will continue. Oh, very cool, Dinosaur Dave. Well, safe travels and best of luck with that. That's so awesome.
Ontogeny.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing these paleo streams? This is my first one from the field this year, but I've been streaming paleontology on Twitch for more than 4 years now. I started in May of 2020, and I've been doing these fieldwork streams for a few years as well. But it takes a lot of equipment to be able to do that, The satellite dish, solar panels, solar battery, and Wi-Fi router there. A lot of equipment to move around, but I'm lucky it's mostly portable. Yeah. And Emily says, is it very complicated to get a permit? It's a good question. Here, we're going to go see Nick again. Nick, you've got more fans.
Who else?
Simping for a Huntress? Says, I see Nick up there.
Yeah. What's up, Vincent?
Yeah. yeah, we'll check in with the crew in a minute, but I want to answer this question about permits and about public land and stuff. So right now we're working on what we call BLM land, Bureau of Land Management land, which is public federal land. So it's land that is protected by the federal government. And as a result of that, any vertebrate fossils, any important, fossils of animals with bones that get found here belong to we the people. They are to be held in the public trust for the people of the United States, and I guess the world at large, if you think about it that way. So yeah, like Indiana Jones said, that belongs in a museum. So only paleontologists and people from museums, people who are going to guarantee that these fossils go to a federally recognized repository, like a proper museum. Only we get to do excavations on land like this, on public land, just to make sure that, people aren't coming out here and digging up fossils and selling them to the highest bidder. You can't do that. These fossils belong to all of us as Americans, and so they need to be in a museum. So in order to be able to do an excavation in a place like this, we have to apply for permits, to kind of demonstrate that we're going to play by the rules, we're not going to hurt the land, we're not going to, grab deer and put them in a headlock and, go give them a noogie or anything like that. No, we're here to have as limited impact on the environment as we can, to be as respectful of this land as we can, and that means doing things by the book and only digging holes as big as we need to and all that good stuff. So yeah, we got an insect visiting our camera right now. What are you? A really cool looking bee-type critter. Interesting. Some sort of fly. But yeah. It says Utah right now. It's not supposed to say Utah. It's supposed to say Green River, Wyoming. Does it say Utah in the upper right or left? Because it's... Wait, is it in the title, Claire? In the title it says Utah. Which means I made a typo. Trying to, type this on my phone. Oh, goodness. It may have auto-corrected, too, to Green River, Utah. Because Green River, Utah... There's also a Green River in Utah. It's also near where I'm going to be working in July and August. Mods fixed the title. Thank you, Graham Cracker Crust, and thank you, Mods. Claire Burr. Thank you for doing that, Claire. Appreciate it. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. And, thank you, Lenina, for reposting that from Rebel Decibel. 73 million years ago, what is the error? How close to actual age can you get? That is a great question. So, one of the things we're hoping to do this year is to maybe collect some ash samples. So, in order to be able to tell how old rocks are, you could do what we call radiometric dating. So, basically, you look for radioactive isotopes within a sample of rock, and it acts kind of like an hourglass. So, after the rock was formed, it slowly decays over time. These radioactive isotopes, it's like sand going through an hourglass. So, imagine you have an hourglass, and you turn it over on the desk, and then you walk out of the room. And you forget how long ago it was that you turned it over. Well, if you come back, take a picture of it, you look at that picture, you can tell how much sand has gone through. And that can tell you how long it's been since it got turned over. Does that make sense? I hope this is an okay analogy. You can do the same thing with rocks. With radioactive isotopes, we know they decay at a given rate. And so, because of that, we can tell the proportions, like how much sand has gone through, so to speak. We can tell the proportions of these radioactive isotopes as they decay from one form to another. And we can tell how old the rocks are, how long ago it was that these rocks were formed. So volcanic ashes have some of these radioactive isotopes that we can use to directly date the rocks. So we're hoping we find some of those this year and we can get a proper date, a precise numerical date for exactly how old these rocks are. But right now our best estimate, based on the layering and everything else, is about 73 million years old. But, you know, there's a lot of rocks here, and there's a lot of time represented. So it'd be nice to be able to tell exactly how old that dinosaur is, how long ago it was buried. And hopefully we can find an ash layer in here that's pretty close to that. So we've got a nice, you know, a nice solid number for how long ago this dinosaur died. Yeah. And very funny. This is my office during the summers. Again, welcome to wild and beautiful western Wyoming, near the town of Green River. Yeah. But yeah. Let's see. And scrolling. Trying to look for other questions here. And Mommy Does says, and there are a bunch of different dating methods. Not all are usable in every situation. Absolutely, yeah. So certain radioactive isotopes are only good for a certain amount of time. It's like having hourglasses with only a little bit of sand in them. So those might be really good for rocks that were laid down very recently. But for stuff like this, that's tens of millions of years old, you might use, I guess, like argon dating. There's different isotopes of argon that decay at such a rate where they're useful for rocks that are about this old. Yeah. And Melissa Total, yeah, back to fieldwork. It's good to have you here. I'm glad I can interact with chat a bit more readily, too, than when I was streaming with Jim. That was such a privilege to be able to do that, to just see Jim walk us through the Utah Raptor block and listen to him talk about all this stuff. You know, I was loath to interrupt him with questions and comments and stuff. It's nice to be able to interact with all of you a little bit more rapidly. How's the desert seen any worm sign? Not yet, Baja Spencer. But, you know, we all have to walk without rhythm, you know, avoid those worms. Yeah. And Ungoy says, what was that area like when Triceratops was alive? So it looked similar. Again, this dinosaur we're digging up is older than Triceratops by about almost 10 million years. No. Yeah, almost 10 million years older than Triceratops. 7 million years older than Triceratops, give or take. But yeah, let me show you what North America would have looked like at the time. Here. I believe I've got one of my visual aids here deals with that. Bingo. So, picture, you know, North America today. Picture a map of North America, of the United States and Mexico and Canada. And you picturing it? You got it? Mental picture? This is roughly what this area would have looked like, North America, about 70 million years ago. So this is not an exact match for the age of the rocks that we're looking in right now, but it's pretty close. So there was this big seaway that kind of cut North America in two at the time. We call this the WIS, the Western Interior Seaway, W-I-S. And this expanded and contracted at various times during the Late Cretaceous. And sometimes it's, when sea levels rose, it covered up all of this area of Oklahoma and Texas too, and so you could swim from the Gulf of Mexico up to the Yukon at the time. Wyoming is right here. We're about here, near the town of Green River in Wyoming, right now. So, when these rocks were being laid down, these animals would have lived right by the shore. So, again, 70 million years ago, that's a little bit more recent than the rocks that we're digging in. 73 million years ago, the seaway had expanded a bit, and so this was beachfront property at the time. And we can see that in the rocks and the fossils that we're digging up here. So we'll find things like, you know, clams and stuff like that. We'll find deltaic environments. We'll find rocks that represent when there was like a, you know, like an estuary right there going out to the sea. Think of like San Francisco Bay, you know, where you've got salt water mixing with fresh water right there on the coast. that's what this environment was like when the Almond Formation rocks are being laid down. Yeah. And is the Great Salt Lake what's left of the West? No, that's much, much later. Yeah, this Great Salt Lake is the remnants of the Glacial Lake Bonneville, I believe. So yeah, the Great Salt Lake is much more recent than that. Yeah. Yeah. And Sugadinta says, how do we know the continent expanded and contracted? We have just a rough idea of general direction of continental drift. No, we've actually got a really good idea of continental drift. There's a bunch of, oh man, I've done whole streams about this before. But we can do things like paleomagnetism, so we can tell which directions we're facing north at which particular times in Earth history. We can look at the actual like fossil and rock record to tell which areas would have been underwater at the time and which would have been dry land, that kind of thing. So we've got a much better understanding, I think, than you might imagine. Yeah. But yeah. I'll be in Wyoming next summer for a family thing. Very cool, MLF. There's a lot of cool fossil sites and fossil museums to visit in Wyoming. So definitely check in on that if you ever get the chance to visit this beautiful state. Yeah. But yeah. And thank you, Mikey Likes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Glacial Lake Bonneville was the precursor to the Great Salt Lake. That was during... and the Lapa Mazanoris, yeah, we found an arrowhead the other day. They're around here all over the place. Yeah. People have been living in this area for the past few thousand years at least. But those are always, on the surface. When we're digging here, like digging at this site, digging up this dinosaur, we're trying to. We're digging in rock rather than soil. Archaeologists usually do not work on fossils. They work on human artifacts and sometimes human remains. But all that stuff is shallow usually, It's in soil. What we're digging in is bedrock. We're lucky here that the bedrock is right here on the surface. There's not a lot of soil here. This is like a very dry, high desert kind of environment. You just get these nice kind of scrubby plants here. You don't get big tall trees. You don't get lush vegetation. You've just got stuff that can basically make do living out of rock or very, very kind of sparse soil like this. The rock is broken down into very low quality soil that's very, very shallow. So it's not a great place for lush vegetation, but it's a wonderful place to find fossils. Yeah. Ethan Jem says, what species have you found in previous digs? Well, last summer when we were here, we found this horned dinosaur that we're hoping to excavate more of this year. We're hoping more of it is in there. That's why we came back. But we've also got several duckbill dinosaurs, hadrosaurs, classic duckbills. And there's the potential for a few other dinosaurs too, but we'll have crews also doing some prospecting this year, walking around looking for new sites. And fingers crossed, maybe we'll find a tyrannosaur or a leptoceratopsid or an ornithomimosaur or something like that. Maybe even a pachycephalosaur. That would be cool. But yeah, in previous years, working at other sites across the country, I've dug up tyrannosaurs, armored dinosaurs, ankylosaurs, dinosaur trackways, dinosaur footprints. Who else have I dug up? I've dug up a few sauropod bones, not very many. The long-necked, four-legged dinosaurs. Man, they are a pain in the butt to dig up, so maybe it's best that I didn't find very much there. A number of other dinosaurs too. Little theropods, little bird-like meat-eating dinosaurs that had feathers. I don't know. I've been digging dinosaurs since 2011, so found a fair few things. Yeah. Let's see. And very funny, Medibs. Yeah. I need to get some water. Talking is drying me out. And then we'll maybe go up there and take a look at some of these fossil elements. Again, we just started digging today. We just reopened this site after it was closed for a year. And yeah, we've already started finding a few little bits and pieces. Hopefully a little piece of dinosaur bone that Quinn has got. And then Nick was finding some turtle bits earlier too. So we'll take a look at those. Bobby Pasta says, so cool to be able to watch a dig on Twitch. It's great to have you here, Bobby Pasta. I'll be doing these streams hopefully almost every day in June for the rest of the month. And then I'll go to Utah in mid-July and be broadcasting a dig from near Moab, Utah from mid-July through about mid-August. So yeah. Yeah, and I don't have the sun helmet on right now, Pimpcat, because it's not hot enough for that. I've got my digger hat instead, my Australian slouch hat. Wyoming is not a humid place. You've got to make sure you stay hydrated in a place like this, in the high desert. Yeah. Honor Draco says Nick's turtle. Yeah, let's go see that. Yeah. Here. Let's take a look. Got any more of that turtle there, Nick?
Yeah. So you can see at the bottom where it's a little bit brown. That's your bone. Kind of check off.
Oops.
Oh yeah,
All good, all good.
What the heck, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so right here, Quinn is putting some glue on this bit of hopefully ceratopsian dinosaur bone. Kind of hard to tell what it is.
I know, it kind of looks like a turtle too.
Yeah.
but,
It's the turtle's
Does
head.
it have turtle texture?
not really, but I don't know, the edges on here.
That's what we wanted to be. Yeah, nice. Yeah, and then so Nick's got two different kinds of turtle here.
Yep. So, right here is the plastron of the turtle. As you can see, it's disarticulated and broke off. You can see the part where it broke. So I'm not going to glue it yet because I'm not too sure
Yeah.
the orientation.
Uh-huh.
So, but you can see here you can tell it's the plastron of the turtle, the undercarriage of the turtle, because of these lines that kind of go through, almost like it has a six-pack.
Uh-huh. Oh, hang on. It looks like we've got a cable that got pulled or something. Live broadcast. Anything can happen. We got some static. Yeah. Might be a pinch cord. Yeah.
Matt Lamont just keeps texting me. And Ethan.
Let's see. It might just be a Starlink thing too. You know, we've got a broadcast. It's going all the way to space and back, so.
I have some really bad omens when it comes to technology, so just you filming me just cut the feed.
No, you're good.
Would you like to see some other
Yeah,
Or
let's see
is
some
it
of that
rolling?
trianicid texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's some more of the plastron that I recovered. These pieces. Make sure it doesn't blow away. These pieces were recovered a little bit further down from this big guy.
Uh-huh.
But you can see again with these nice beautiful textures on it.
Yeah.
You've got to get that cleaned up. Had to glue a piece here that fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see to get that initial one that I found.
And there's
has-
that one piece you were holding, the kind of smaller one with that beautiful texture on it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
take
see.
a look at that, chat. There's
Chad, is this
lovely
real?
little bumps. Yeah.
Chad, is this real? No, but there's a really cool one that I found, and I want to show it off.
Yeah.
Hey, truly, what a wonderful day we got.
Yeah. Lovely. 73 million year old turtle here. Turtle, you did not die in vain.
Nope, he waited right here just for me to pick him up. All right, well, I guess
Cool.
I'm going to be working on uncovering this guy because again, see the rest of him is here. So he goes in laterally this way.
Interesting, yeah.
So, and given that this might be the plastron, the undercarriage of the turtle,
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that the carapace might be further up, maybe
Ooh.
over here.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Hopefully that'll be pretty cool. Maybe
It's
some other
interesting that
skeletons.
he's like the plastron is going in at an angle like that, like
Yeah, we got some little bit
kind of almost vertical.
deformation.
Yeah, he's gonna be broken up if he's small.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm gonna make a little box. See what I got. I'm gonna like move down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then real carefully extract them.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, at the risk of speculating a little too much, like there's a chance this turtle got stepped on or something.
Oh yeah.
In order to be like in at an angle, but there's a lot of things that could do that.
Okay. So we get
Yeah. Yeah. He's got squished down into the mud. But yeah, I know, Glenn, what do you think about the depositional environment here? What can you tell us about that? From I know you just got here today, but
Yeah, it's the first
Yeah.
day looking at it. Well, we're below an obvious channeled sandstone, so we're in floodplain environments generally.
uh-huh.
You know, freshwater, terrestrial stuff.
Yeah.
And this organic rich gray clay is, you know, marshy environment, maybe back swamp, even small oxbow kind of thing,
Nice.
I would guess. So turtles go right along with
Yeah.
that, you know.
Sort of critter we'd expect in there, yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah.
And dinosaur bits washed in or animal dies here. It's a very low energy environment,
Mm-hmm.
so things
Lots of-
haven't traveled far.
Lots of organic bits of crud. Do we have any of those at the ready, like little bits of plant material or anything that people have?
Yeah, I'm sure
Nice, thanks, Nick.
Yeah, I mean like it's a little bit of coal, but
And Honor Draco says hello to you too, Nick.
that's my brother Shane.
Nice.
What's up, Shane?
Yeah, so this is a little subtle, but hopefully the camera's picking it up okay. We've got little bits of kind of blackish, you know, material in here, little flecks of dark colored just plant crud. That's kind of characteristic of a boggy environment like this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
everywhere. Everything you pick up, you'll see this black, dark
Yeah.
material.
Not to be
organic
confused
matter.
with we've got modern roots over here. The kind of yellowish bits are roots from plants today, but the black stuff, those are from the Cretaceous, from when these dinosaurs were walking around. Cool. Thanks, Nick. And thanks, Glenn.
Sure.
Yeah. And, oh, Casey Snowart wants to know, is it the color that helps us tell that it is a fossil? Not really. It's the texture, primarily. Yeah, let's see.
Don't have a lot on my end yet.
Yeah?
Working on it though.
Yeah, so this is the way that we excavate here, just kind of slow and careful with hand tools like this. Like
Yeah,
James using an oyster knife.
This is my first day on the dig, so I'm still learning. But
You're doing great.
what we were supposed to do is to kind of start from the edge and then work our way this way.
Mm-hmm. Kind of
'Cause-
top down, too.
Yeah, because we don't have X-ray vision. We can't see. Well, X-ray vision will work anyways, but we can't see inside the rock where it is. So we just got to carefully, slowly remove
Mhm.
sediment away till we find something.
Yeah. You work like carefully and gently enough that you're not going to dig through a bone or bit of turtle shell or whatever else we find here. So, yeah.
So I'm just kind of breaking away some of these chunks here, taking them, then checking them to make sure that they're not any fossil.
Yeah.
I'm no expert, but this does not look like fossil to me.
It's not, yeah. You're right.
So, thank you for
Yeah.
checking.
Hope you weren't waiting on tenterhooks there. Yeah. Cooking Fat wants to know, do we study geology to help? Absolutely. Yeah. The geology is like, that's a huge, huge part of vertebrate field paleontology. And invertebrate field paleontology. What am I saying? But yeah. Understanding the rocks and what's going on with these rocks is crucially important to being able to find fossil specimens and interpret them properly. Yeah. But yeah. And Uncle Joe Show says, which of the dinosaurs do you think would be the chillest? That's a good, I don't know. Level of chill is not something that readily fossilizes. But, I don't know, some of your, if I had to pick a dinosaur that would probably not be too aggressive or bitey or scratchy. Maybe some sort of little ornithopod or something like that. Or a basal ornithischian like Culindrodromeus or something like that. I don't know. One of the little beaky plant-eating guys whose primary defense was running away. That probably would have been one of your less dangerous dinosaurs. I don't know if they'd be chill. Maybe they'd be the opposite. Probably really skittish if their primary defense is flight, running away. So yeah. Axeman says, in most fields, the specialist who has all the knowledge and the specialist who gets hands-on are different people. I love that paleontologists do both. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, there are many different kinds of paleontologists who work in different ways, but a lot of us do both work in collections and in the laboratory and in the field, you know, digging these fossils up in the first place. I think doing field work is really, really important to being a good paleontologist, because being in the field gives you context that you wouldn't otherwise have. You know, if you're there digging up the fossils yourself, you know what goes into that, you know how common the fossils are in the field, you know, it just gives you kind of a sense of perspective that, you know, otherwise you wouldn't have. Yeah. But yeah, I'd also pet a tree rarcuncus to see if it's chill, cast the dreamer. You and me both. And Caterpillar says, running away is my primary defense as well. Nice. Do you lack massive, horns or defensive spines, Caterpillar? And IDW Deathsaurus says, don't we find a lot of Dryosaurus skeletons with Stegosaurus? You know, I don't know that off the top of my head. I've not done a lot of work in the Morrison Formation, so I don't have that perspective from doing field work and knowing how common those dinosaurs are to find together. That's a good question. I'm not sure. And are there many avian dinosaurs flying by you? Yeah, we've had some good birds. I keep hearing western meadowlarks, which might be the state bird of Wyoming. Somebody look that up. Is the western meadowlark the state bird of Wyoming? I know it is for Montana, where I used to live. I can hear one in the background over there. And then I saw some rock wrens earlier, and some kind of sparrow, I think, as well. But today's not been a huge day for birds. I've not seen any raptors. I've not seen any turkey vultures. Nothing like that today so far. But cross your fingers. Yeah. I wonder if ankylosaurs would be chill. They wouldn't have had much to worry about. Salamander, that's a good question. I don't know. I wish there were some way to tell an animal's temperament just by its skeleton. Yeah. So far, I don't think anybody's found a way to really do that in a testable way. Yeah. And western meadowlark, Wyoming too. Thank you, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah. And Opus Noctum says, cool stream, dude. Interesting info and good views. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's great to have you here. Yeah. No Snoopy up in a tree pretending to be a vulture? Not yet, Pimp Cat. But who knows? Gonna be out here the whole month of June. So. And Racodactylus, how are you doing? It's good to have you here. Yeah, things are going well. It's our first day today, actually, doing some digging. We just got into camp last night, started setting things up, continued setting things up this morning, and figured we ought to get out here on the outcrop and actually, move some rock and see if we can start finding some more of these bones. Yeah. Have you discovered a dozen new dinosaur species yet? Not yet, Racodactylus. Ask me tomorrow. And yeah, travel did go well and setup was fine. Thank you, Reiko. And so far, the weather's been lovely. We've actually got these beautiful clouds going on right now. For anybody just tuning in, we are working in western Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere, kind of near the town of Green River, Wyoming. While it's very dry out here, that also means it's not super rainy, which is nice. It's not super hot, because we got these lovely clouds. It's a good day to be digging dinosaurs, for sure. And what size of an area do you hope to excavate this year? Coffee Man Ken? That's a great question. Here, let me take you up here and we'll talk about that a little bit. So, last summer, we only had what we call a prospecting permit, or like a surface collection permit. So we could, when we found this site originally, Nick Longrich actually found it, from the University of Bath in England. He was visiting us for a few weeks last summer. And he was out prospecting and found part of the frill of this horned dinosaur. And that's right where Glenn is sitting there on the right side. So Glenn's the one over on the right. So we dug a hole about 3 feet by 3 feet, because that's the size of a hole that we can dig under a surface collection permit. And yeah, now we've got that in the laboratory in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Nick was actually working on that, prepping that, getting it all cleaned up, which is really exciting. He's getting to work on what's probably a new species of horned dinosaur. Anyway, back to the question. Yeah, so right there where Glenn is, in the kind of pinkish shirt, that's where our ceratopsian frill came out of last year. And then today, we've managed to knock down all that rock there where Quinn and Nick and James are sitting. And so we're just kind of digging in there, slowly working our way down, looking for any bone. We dig kind of top down when we can. When we're near the bone layer, you work slowly from the top down. And yeah, hopefully we start finding some more bone there. But if not, we might dig in further back into the hill in the coming days. So the size of the hole that we dig is dictated by, you know, where we start to find bone and where we think it's going to continue. But yeah. Anywho, John Pabajones says, this team deserves every sub. I appreciate you, John. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me. I'm glad you're enjoying watching. It's good to have you here. Yeah.
Ontogeny.
And thank you, Blake the Snake, for the 11 months of support. I appreciate that. Unreality, yo to you too. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you here. Let me drink some more water. Drying me out in this desert air and yapping like I'm doing. I'm so glad everybody's here. It's good to have you. And thank you, Sculpin, for those gift subs. Really appreciate that. And thank you, Murph, for those gift subs earlier. Sorry I didn't shout you out, but appreciate you, Murph. I really do. It's good to have you here.
Ontogeny.
Yeah. And let's see. Rabid Rhino wants to know, how do you determine a good area to prospect for future digs? I'm sure it can be very hit or miss. It can be. But the way that you can improve your chances of finding good fossils is by knowing a thing or two about the local geology. So you can look at geological maps, because most of the Earth's rocks at this point have been mapped out. We know roughly how old they are. There's some exceptions. There's some rocks that are more mysterious, and there's some rocks that are very, very well constrained temporally. We know exactly how old they are. So that's a good starting point. If you're looking for dinosaur fossils, you want to look in rocks that are from the age of the dinosaurs. So between about 235 to about 66 million years ago. Yeah, and then you look for rocks of the right type. They have to be sedimentary rocks, rocks that are laid down by, you know, ancient sediments from the bottom of lakes and rivers, floodplains, oceans, stuff like that. And, yeah, because you're not going to find dinosaur fossils in volcanic rock, you know, in lava that cooled. You're not going to find them there. And you're not going to find them usually in metamorphic rock either, rock that's been transformed by heat and pressure. That kind of process that metamorphoses rocks has a tendency to also destroy the fossils inside. So you want sedimentary rock. It's got to be of the right age and generally the right type. If you're looking for dinosaurs, you mostly want to look in terrestrial strata. So rocks that were laid down on land, you know. Doesn't have to be dry land. Rivers and lake sediments, swamps, stuff like that, where you've got water carrying sediment in and burying bones. Those are like your prime kind of environments for finding dinosaur fossils. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, if you've got rocks of the right age and the right type, and then the right kind of depositional environment, you need to go out to an area where those rocks are exposed on the surface, like here in western Wyoming. So you don't have all the rocks covered by trees, by parking lots, by Walmarts, or etc. It's just beautiful kind of wilderness terrain. Very dry. This is actually really lush and green looking for Wyoming. They must have had a lot of precipitation over the past year because the plants are pretty happy. But as you can tell, these plants are scrubby plants. You know, this is not a rainforest. This is not a grassland. This is kind of scrubby, rocky terrain. And it's in those exposed rocks that we find these fossils in the first place. Does that make sense? Yeah. And is this where the last field stream was? So my last ones from last year were in Utah. But that was later in the summer last year. But early last summer, I was here. In fact, in that same exact spot up there, when we were digging up the ceratopsian, our horned dinosaur, that's the same site. We've returned to see if we can find more of that critter. And Sabina Bean says, with work on a dig site being pretty intense, how do you keep safe and feeling good? I can imagine the body aches from leaning down and stuff. It does, yeah. We try and get plenty of sleep when that's possible. But, you know, it can be pretty rough and tumble out here. It's not for everybody. Yeah. On top of this, it's not like we're sleeping in a 5-star hotel at night either. We're sleeping in tents, usually on the ground. And so, yeah, it's not for everybody. But I love doing this, you know. I've been doing this since 2011. Almost every summer, gone out and dug fossils, collected paleontological specimens, I should say, for various museums, and it feels good to be out here kind of roughing it, you know? Living in very austere conditions. No running water, no electricity, usually no internet. We've got satellite internet going on right now, and solar power powering it. But, yeah. It's a lot like camping, but, yeah, we're camping with a purpose. You know, it's not just for fun, it's for the advancement of science, for the improvement of human knowledge. It's cool to be part of something that's so much bigger than just yourself, to know that you're contributing to that. And, you know, the work that we're doing here, this is going to not only advance our own scientific careers and help us personally learn about what's going on in this period of Earth history, but, you know, for hundreds of years, people will be looking at these specimens that we bring back to the museum. They'll be studying them. They'll be using them to learn about the history of life on our incredible planet Earth. And I think it's pretty cool to be part of a mission like that, you know? Yeah. But yeah, let's see. Do you do a master's? Yeah, I don't like to talk too much about credentials on this channel, because the whole point is to, like, talk about, you know, I don't want to be gatekeepy, or, you know, I want to make the point that science is for everybody. Yeah, but I went to Montana State University, and not the most prestigious school in the world, but a wonderful school for dinosaur paleontology, especially when I started there. And yeah. Honestly, the point that I usually try to make is that degrees can be really important in paleontology, but what is often even more important is experience. It's working in the field, conducting research, publishing papers, talking with colleagues. I don't know. I strive to be as kind of anti-credentialist as possible when I'm doing outreach like this. Congratulations on your master's degree, though. That's awesome. Nicely done. Yeah. But yeah. Nothing More Variant says it's one of the really wonderful, heartening things about this stream. You really are doing it for the science. You're trying to, nothing more yet. Trying to. It's very important to spread that passion. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, and shoot, I forgot. Claire Burr, would you mind changing our streaming category to travel and outdoors? I want to kind of switch back and forth during different streams. But yeah. Rabid Rhino says, is it a relatively long wait between a prospect and getting the right paperwork for the dig? So it took us a year, but that's up to the... Sorry about the wind here. We've got some weather moving in, but it looks like hopefully that rain is going to miss us. We'll see. Yeah. Hopefully that's going to drift to the north of us. Or... Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So we got our permits from the Bureau of Land Management, which is a federal institution. They protect federal lands here, and here and across the country. And if you've got something that's really time sensitive, often you can get them to kind of rush the whole process. Here we weren't in a real rush because we finished things up last summer and we had almost a year for them to be able to get the permits to us after we applied for them. And got them in time and everything's good. So big shout out to the Bureau of Land Management. Thank you for your support for this important work. We're trying to make you proud. I can't get you traveling outdoors. They deleted the category. How about IRL? Shoot. Yeah, Claire. IRL sounds good. No, they got rid of traveling outdoors. Wow. Huh. Yeah. But yeah. And I'm concerned about the fossils eroding. Yeah, Deathosaurus, erosion is both... I've said this before. It's both the... Erosion is the greatest friend and the mortal enemy of the paleontologist. Erosion is how we find these fossils in the first place.
Ontogeny.
When we're out prospecting for new sites, we're trying to find fossils. We're not using fancy ground-penetrating radar technology. That sort of thing doesn't work for paleontology. We're not just digging a random hole someplace and hoping for the best. The way that we find fossils in the first place is by prospecting, by walking along, staring at the ground like this, and just looking for little bits of fossil bone. And you can see there's all kinds of chunks of rock in here. And, one of the most important skills to have in the field is being able to tell rock from bone. Pick up little chunks like this, and you go, could this be bone? It's an interesting color. No, the texture is wrong for bone. That is not bone right there. Let's look at this right here. This be bone? No, it's more rock. It's a little bit closer. There's definitely more rock there. I bet you if I were to kind of go back and forth over here, eventually I'd find a little chunk of bone to show you. But we tried to hoover up as much of this as we could this morning so that it wouldn't get buried when we're knocking rock down the hill, trying to uncover the bone layer. So anywho, yeah. And Deathosaurus says, have you ever licked any of the rocks to figure out whether it's rock or bone? Way back when I was first starting. That's kind of it does work sometimes. But it's... as paleontologists, we try and be better than that. If you can't tell that something is bone by looking at it, then, that's a problem. So, yeah. Here, maybe I'll see if I can find some bone for you on the ground over here. Anyway, what was I saying about erosion? So when we find stuff, it's because it's on the surface, because it's been eroded out. Wind and rain and freeze-thaw have broken up the rock to the extent that there are bits of fossil bone peeking out. And that is how we find it in the first place. It almost looks like bone here, but it's not. This is just another piece of rock. we shouldn't have any bones still down here, but you know, there's a lot of pieces. I'm sure we missed something. So I don't know if I'll be able to show you live though. This is not a good place for doing that because we tried to scoop it all up. We had the whole crew here, like 15 people earlier, looking for bone. Yeah, that's how you get Giardia. There you go now. And Nothing More says, still kind of unbelievable that we can watch science take place over live stream. Oh yeah, that's what we're all about here. Absolutely. Anywho. And Subpar Umpire, you bet. That's what we're doing for the whole month of June and half of July and half of August too. Live dinosaur digs. Live paleontological fieldwork. Yeah. So it does look like those clouds are just gonna miss us, which is nice. Camp might be getting rained on. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, you got lots of helping hands. Absolutely, Miss Yvette. We've had the biggest crew I've had in a long time here, which is awesome. And yeah, no, these things are not obvious to find. You've got to really develop an eye to be able to find fossil bone, and especially in this kind of in these rocks. Some places in the world, in some geological formations, the rock is totally different color from the bone. So like, first thought is the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. The bone kind of weathers this really nice, almost like bleach bone white. And the rock is often kind of an orangey, reddy kind of brown. And so the bone can really stand out. In a place like this, it's tougher. It's a lot tougher. And H. Emo says, come to Saudi Arabia, there are plenty. I don't think we know of any dinosaurs from Saudi Arabia, but I think there have been marine reptile fossils found from the Mesozoic. I think much of Saudi Arabia's sedimentary rock from the Mesozoic is marine, so it's from ancient oceans, and that might have something to do with all the oil there too, because oil forms kind of in the bottom of ocean basins. You get all of this organic material, these dead plankton and stuff that drift down to the bottom. There's layers after layers of all these carbon-rich dead critters, and it gets compressed and eventually becomes petroleum. Yeah. Anytime you've got like oil deposits, that's because there was an ancient ocean there at one point. Yeah. And loads of basilosaurs. You're thinking of Egypt now. Yeah, Egypt is where those all those cool fossil whales from there. I don't know if we have any from from like the Saudi Arabia peninsula. Yeah. But yeah, the Tethys Sea in Saudi Arabia. There you go, Dr. Helps. Yep. Yeah. Anywho, so oil is a critter smoothie? You bet, Grigon. Yeah. That's why it's called a fossil fuel. Is because it's made from, ancient organisms. Well, sort of. I guess the word fossil... There's the word fossil that we paleontologists use, which means the preserved remains of ancient living things. But I think the root word of... I don't know, the derivation of fossil, it just means dug up. Fossilis in Latin, I think, just means, like, dug up out of the ground. So in that sense, a potato would be a fossil, because you dig it up out of the ground. A carrot would be a fossil. But, that's in an overly literal sense, and we don't ever want to do that. Yeah. So I guess fossil fuel in that sense would be like, oh, it's a fuel that you dig up out of the ground. But they're also made from fossil organisms. So yeah. Yep, and fossorial creatures digging the ground. Exactly, Castor. Same root word there. Yeah. Prankster Fan, how are you doing? Welcome. That wasn't a raindrop, was it? Hope not. A lot of electronic equipment sitting out right now. There you go, Chuck Nerd. Yeah. Yeah, fossil tree trunks and leaves. Exactly, Dr. Hubbs. Yeah, yeah. There's actually a lot of coal mining in this kind of general area. So we're here near Green River, Wyoming right now. I think there may have been some coal mining near Green River, but Rock Springs, Wyoming, which is not too far away, is kind of famous for coal mining. And those are Cretaceous coals. Those are from basically the, same general age of these rocks that we're digging in right now. So when dinosaurs were walking around doing their thing in Wyoming, that's when all of these dead plants were being compressed, just buried layer after layer after layer, being smushed down into this carbon-rich strata that would eventually become coal. And there have been dinosaur, footprints found in coal mines not too far from here, which is pretty neat. That's one of the things that Barnum Brown was doing here back in the 30s, was going into some of these coal mines and looking at these enormous dinosaur tracks. It's neat, because dinosaurs were walking around through the same environment, these same swamps that were producing these coals. Yeah. Scummy Mummy says, this is so cool. I'm glad you think so. Yeah. It's a privilege to be able to share this with you, so I'm glad you're here. Let me know if you've got any questions. Yeah. And TC Freer, how are you doing? Welcome back to Paleontologizing. It's good to see you. Yeah, we've got 423 people watching right now. Not too shabby, gotta say. That's pretty good. Yeah. Do you have a link for Wyoming fauna in the Almond Formation? That's the funny thing, Claire. There's basically no list for that because none of these things have been named. You could go to the Almond Formation Wikipedia page, but you'll see that almost nothing in there can be narrowed down to, genus, let alone species. This is a new frontier. Almost anything we find here is going to be new. So we're doing it. And holy cow, Doug Shells, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Dougie, I appreciate the raid, and welcome everybody. Raiders, it's wonderful to have you here. Welcome to wild and woolly western Wyoming here, near the town of Green River. We're out here in the middle of nowhere, digging up dinosaurs. This is our first day of the season here, our first day after getting into camp last night, and we're hoping to find more of this horned dinosaur, same one that we were digging up last June. We got a couple pieces of the skull last summer. We're hopefully, crossing our fingers, going to find more of the skeleton this year, because it will almost certainly be a new species, and pretty excited about that. Yeah. How was your stream, Thug Shells and Raiders? I hope it was really, really good. I know Thug Shells was in San Francisco not too long ago. She was in, and in Oakland too, in my neck of the woods. Is she still traveling? Anyway, it's wonderful to have everybody here. Let me introduce myself real quick, for those of you who might be new. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. So, you probably know already a paleontologist is a fossil scientist, someone who studies fossils. I work on dinosaur fossils in particular, and during the summers I'm out here digging them up. This is one of my favorite parts of being a paleontologist, is being able to do field work like this, to find new things, and nowadays to share it with all of you at home. So if you've got any questions, do not hesitate to ask. It's what I'm here for. Break out the ukulele. That's back in camp, Arlen. And I need to practice some more anyway. Are any of the crew here from last year? Yeah, Quinn is back from last year. But we've got a bunch of new people here too, which is really cool. For some people, it's their first time ever doing fieldwork, first time ever collecting fossils. So yeah, exciting. It's neat that we can be kind of an incubator for young scientists in a way, for aspiring paleontologists. Feels good to be able to do that. Doing our part to advance the science and train young researchers. New intro video on a dig site. I have thought about that, Sabina Bean. I'd love to if I have time. But yeah, Why did the dinosaurs have to hide all their fossils? Caterpillar. It's the reason we have them, is that they got buried. You know, lots of animals die and leave bones behind, but those bones get weathered away to dust if they don't get buried and fossilized. So we're very lucky that they did get buried and fossilized. Yeah. Not drywall paneling. There you go, Mommy does, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And 86 raiders from the Brutzler. Well, welcome, welcome, raiders and Brutzler. It's good to have you here. Holy cow, it's one raid after another. Can we get another shout out for Thug Shells real quick? If you, who raided in just a few moments ago, if you like freestyle rap and just people with cool, chill personalities, you're really going to like Thug Shells. She is a lyrical virtuosa. Anyway, check her out. Thug Shells is awesome. And Brutzler, can we get a shout out for you too? Thank you for the raid. It's good to have you here. Welcome everybody. Welcome to wild and beautiful western Wyoming. You're near the town of Green River, Wyoming, digging up dinosaurs. So if you've ever wanted to watch a live dinosaur dig, you're in the right place. We're just starting out here today. We just got here last night. But we've got probably a new ceratopsian dinosaur, new horned dinosaur. Think like Triceratops, but older. That's what we got here. Very cool. Anyway. And how come the bones are not deeper? Is it just lucky that they're more on the surface side? So that's the one thing that I should explain, I guess, is that 73 million years ago, when dinosaurs were walking around here and dying and getting buried, this area did not look like this. It looked very, very different. It would have looked kind of like present-day Louisiana, maybe. You know, very flat terrain, swampy, near the coast. You had cypress trees and ferns and cycads and redwoods and stuff like that. Kind of a low-lying, wet floodplain. And only tens of millions of years later did the Rocky Mountains really, really start to come up in this part of the world. And then this whole area got pushed up. It used to be sea level. And now we're 4,000 feet in the air. No, more than that. We're like 7,000 feet here near Green River, Wyoming. So yeah, you had like 7,000 feet of elevation change over the past 70 million years. And as a result of that, with this area being pushed up and these mountains forming, you know, what used to be buried underground has been eroded. Because as mountains get pushed up, wind and rain and freeze-thaw, snow, stuff like that, kind of breaks the mountain down, and you get, you know, rock that comes down off of it into the basins below. And that's what pushed this area up, turned it from a depositional environment into an erosional environment. And erosion has exposed some of these strata here for us to be able to look through. Thank you, Murph, for all those gift subs. Holy cow. Appreciate that, Murph. Holy moly. Yeah. And the wind is picking up a little bit. We've got a little bit of a rainstorm that's just drifting over there. It's missed us, which is nice, but we're feeling some of that wind here. But yeah, do we find any petrified wood there? Yeah, we have found some fossil wood just yesterday. I don't know if we have any here to show you, but there are little bits of plant material that I could show. But they're not much to look at. They're just like little black specks in this kind of, swampy sediment. Thank you for explaining. You bet. Hell bunnies. You bet. And thank you, Spartan. Holy cow, for all those gift subs. Is that 10 of them there? Appreciate that, Spartan. I do. Thank you. Good stuff. Yeah. Galara Dragon says, what if you get buried alive? It's a decent chance of becoming a fossil, maybe. If that's any consolation. An amazing latency on this stream? Yeah, not too bad, Ted Lord, right? Especially when I respond to chat in a timely way. But yeah, we've got satellite internet here making all this possible. Otherwise, I would not be able to stream live like this. So, thank you to everybody who's made this possible with your support of this channel. It's because of you that I can be out here in the first place, so thank you for that. Yeah. The being a part would be so. There you go, MLF. Yeah. Yeah. And does that satellite internet run solely on solar? You bet, Ted Lord. Yeah. Yeah. I've got a solar battery back there. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Nick's got another piece of a turtle shell to show us. Let's check it out. Careful walking up the scree pile here. Oh, there's an oyster knife there too. Make sure that doesn't get buried or lost. Where? Right there? Here, I'll get it. All right.
Let's go. It's gluing right now, but
Nice.
come over here on the other side.
Uh-huh.
A big piece.
Let's see if I can get over there and take a look. Oh yeah, look at that.
Looks really cool.
Yeah.
I have this here just stabilizing.
Nice.
Piece that I'm gluing. A bunch of little tiny fragments. But
Do you still think that's plastron?
Yeah.
Looks kind of okay.
I think it is.
It's got some curve to it, but it's
know.
probably is plastron. Yeah.
Maybe it's curving
It's
this way.
thick.
Yeah.
That's not like what I'm used to for trionychid. Soft shell turtle. I can't see the texture, otherwise I'd just look at that.
Yeah, it's
But-
pretty cool.
There's not much in the way of texture. Maybe a doke or something like that.
Yeah. Like a docus.
Sitting here all day.
I was doing the same thing over here. Nothing, no bone at all over there. Nick and Quinn have got the good spot here. But yeah, so late Cretaceous turtle right here. Doing its thing, living in this environment.
Probably got stepped on.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like a ceratopsian.
They're
or-
being kind
rolled
enough
over.
to die and get buried for us to find 73 million years later. Yeah. And yeah, sorry, but I think there is some interference here. Every time I come up here, somebody's got a phone or something that's
Do we need to turn them off?
interfering. No, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah. Yeah. Anywho, very cool. Thanks for showing us, Nick. Let's hope it continues on and we get
Yeah, get a nice underbelly of it.
more of the turtle in there. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, sun's coming out again. Nice. You did? I thought I saw one or two, but it looks like this thing's mostly missed us. Yeah. It only happens when you get really close to I'm sure it's the fossil turtle that's interfering with the signal. Yeah. It could be a cable, Thor LP. I have some replacement cables I could try using instead. We'll see. These things do have a finite lifespan. Yeah. And yeah, way too old for Ninjemies. MS Coggins. Ninjemies, the ninja turtle, is from the Pleistocene. That's the one that looks like an ankylosaur. It's so cool. Oh, and our router fell over. Let's fix that. Stay upright, router. We need you for this stream. Yeah. But yeah. And Sterling fan, this is one of our same sites from last year. Yeah. That's why we're back. Hoping to find more of this horned dinosaur here. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. And bro really out there looking for, not just looking for fossils, pickled peppers, finding fossils, and digging them up and collecting them. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Let me know if you've got any questions. This is what I do for 2 or 3 months out of every year, pretty much. Field work. You know, in order to be able to study fossils first, you got to find them. Oh yeah. Oh, and we've got more of the crew coming down right now. Hopefully they found some good stuff. Nice. Up there. But yeah, we've got a big crew this year. Much bigger than I'm used to in recent years. Yeah. The real question is who put them there? I mean, they're living things. They lived and died here. It's, yeah. That's actually a really interesting subject of study, though. What we call biogeography, or in this case, paleobiogeography. How did different critters get to different places? Where did they originate, and how were they able to travel across the globe and expand their ranges and seek out new habitats and you know, survive far from where they originated? That's it's a big subject of study in fossil science. Is you know, the paleontological version of biogeography. Why different critters live in different places. Yeah. But yeah. And Miss Yvette says Danny can slack off to do streaming. I mean, this is my full-time job. It's important to do outreach. And also, we kind of have, I don't know, not enough space for everybody to be able to work cheek by jowl right now. So it's nice to be able to take a break from that. And, you know, walk around and talk to all you good folks. Yeah. Wasn't expecting him to see that. Oh, no worries, Dark Era New Vegas. I know you're not one of these dinosaur deniers or whatever. Although I'm not necessarily sure that really exists. Anytime people says, "Oh, the dinosaurs didn't exist," they're like never being earnest. It's, you know, essentially an internet joke. But yeah, do you plan any streams at camp like last year? Yeah, okay, to play. First, I got to talk to everybody on the crew and make sure they're cool with that. But we've got a big enough crew that we could probably have one area, you know, one campfire with streaming and one campfire with no streaming. But yeah, we're gonna try and do that this year too. Should be fun. But yeah. And thanks for doing this. You bet, Miss Yvette. Absolutely. Yeah. Anywho. I like Pi 314. Thank you, Claire Burr, for posting this, for reposting it. I like Pi 314 says, my mom told me the devil made the fossils to confuse us. Not sure if she still thinks this. I never followed up, lol. I don't know. If I could talk to her about fossils, I like to think we could have a nice conversation about that and clear some things up. I don't know. The thing is, fossil science is despite what you might imagine, it is a fairly new kind of discipline. Scientists have only been studying fossils in earnest for about the past 200 or 300 years. So it's a newer science than like chemistry or physics or anything like that. And yeah, some people in the general public still haven't caught up. That's why people like me do what we do. You know, it's so important to be able to do outreach and answer questions and talk to folks about fossils. Because the study of fossils gives us perspective that nothing else does. If you want to understand the history of life on Earth, you got to study fossils. That's what this is all about. Very meticulous. There you go, Harry Dixon. Yes. Yeah. But yeah. And no, I'm not the head of this dig site, Melody Vivo. No, that would be Ethan, who's not here right now. He's out driving around, visiting different sites. But this is his baby. He started this whole project in the first place, working the Almond Formation. Yeah. I'm just here you know, helping out, doing what I can, and using this as an opportunity for some science communication as well. I sometimes think they disbelieve to be contradictory. I agree, Dark Air New Vegas, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah. Where are the Godzilla, bro? Down in the, in the Pacific Saturn Trek. I don't think Godzilla has ever come to Wyoming in any of the Godzilla films. There's not a whole lot out here to destroy, you know? Tokyo is a lot more urban than middle of nowhere Wyoming. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, it's good to have everybody here. He was in Vegas. No, that wasn't Godzilla. That was Godzilla's adversaries in that film. I'm talking about the 2014 Godzilla film. Yeah. In Belgium, we have some Godzillas. Is that right, Wolf? New movie Godzilla goes to Wyoming and takes a nap. There you go, Saggy Iguana. Yeah. Gojiro Wyomingensis. Yeah. And thank you, Thor LP. I appreciate that. My voice is very calming and professorial. Really.
Ontogeny.
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. If I forget it. Okay, Delafa Masnoris. I'll try and remember that. Nice. Yeah. Anyway, so we had a bunch of our crew members come back from another site, and we're just kind of hanging out, waiting for. Just waiting for orders, I guess. Ethan will be back pretty soon, and we'll probably be wrapping up for the day pretty shortly. Yeah. We're coming up on 5 o'clock here, which is around the time we usually wrap up. So, yeah. Good luck in digging, dude. Thank you, Tricky Bobbas. First time I get to see this? Welcome. So glad you could be here. Nice. In Dark Air New Vegas? Yeah, I went to Vegas for the only second time in my life last October. I had to miss SVP last year. Did you get to go to SVP?
No,
You had to miss it too?
I did.
So many of us had to miss the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting last year.
Yeah, Danny, weren't you saying you lost about $50,000 in Vegas? Crap
Definitely,
stable,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Wish I had that much money to lose. Darn.
Some of the people
yeah.
in Vegas are insane.
That's what that. I mean, to a certain extent, that's what that town's built on. But
you lose $50,000, and you're like, I gotta make it back. So
Yeah.
I gotta put another $20,000.
well, I don't. For gambling is it's gambling addiction is a nasty thing. But I've heard that for people who are really addicted to gambling, that losing that much money can feel just as good as winning that much money. It's something about that rush that.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told anyway.
Vegas is a
I don't
fun
know
town, though.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
My buddy's going to the Sphere next week.
Oh, nice.
Go
Yeah.
see Dead and Company. I'm
Uh-huh.
super jealous.
It was weird to drive by that or walk by it and
Oh,
see
sure.
it, and there's just something uncanny about it.
It's weird. The
Like some.
eyeball.
Yeah. But yeah, I was there back in October. I had to miss the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting because TwitchCon was the same weekend in
For you
Vegas.
guys.
Yeah, that was for all of you. Yeah, but we did the scientists on stream panel discussion, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. I
And
can get to tune into that.
yeah, it's on YouTube. But
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All right, I'm checking
Yeah.
that out.
we had one of our moderators here actually filmed it, which was really nice. Put it up on YouTube.
Yeah. So if you
But,
if you subscribe to the Twitch, go subscribe to the YouTube as well.
Smash that subscribe, mangle submerge.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
All the YouTube cliches. Yeah.
Hit the bell
Yeah.
button.
And make sure I'm not standing in front of the satellite dish and blocking the signal.
yeah.
I kept doing that last year. Rookie move, you know? But yeah.
Are you doing a campfire stream?
maybe not tonight. Maybe we'll probably wait till tomorrow or maybe Monday or something. But it'd be cool to do. I don't know if everybody's gonna want to be on camera for that, so we might like set up a separate area. But people would be clamoring to see you. So, yeah. So Quinn here, last year he would give us music recommendations every stream. Have you got one to put you on the spot right now?
Well, I actually have been listening to Amel and the Sniffers a lot. Like,
Nice, yeah. Aren't they great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Wonderful, like, kind of punk band out of Australia.
Yeah. Australia's making the best music right now.
They really are, yeah. Good stuff. The Chats. Yeah.
Just missed them in Buffalo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They were touring?
I was in New York while they were touring.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
But if Krungbin's coming to your town, go see Krungbin.
Krungbin?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Khrunagin.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Oh, I forgot the D.
Just kidding. No, so what kind of music is that?
It's like Thai funk. It's
Oh.
desert music.
Oh,
Go
that
check
sounds
out
cool.
This album.
Nice.
Highly recommend.
Okay. So this was Quinn with our daily music recommendation. Thank you, Quinn.
Of course.
Our
be
music
back.
correspondent here on Paleontologizing.
I'll be back.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, Lenina says, I loved Quinn's music recommendations from last year. So yeah.
I think I recommended Krungbin last year, and
Yeah.
you were like, how do you spell that? And I had to sit and spell it again. But,
I'm so predictable. Shoot. Yeah.
well, everyone asks that.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you say that?
Yeah. Oh, we've got some links in the chat. Thank you, Lenina. She put the Wikipedia page on there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Pigeons playing ping pong, too. That's a good band.
Pigeons playing. Well, let's save that for tomorrow because I'm going to ask you then.
I got more.
Yeah. Steely Dan says, I love this man's Three Wolf shirt. Rock on, brother. There's more than 3 wolves on that shirt. There's wolves all over the place. That's,
This is my shirt that I can get dirty, you know?
Yeah.
It's a thrift store find.
and that's a good one, too.
Legendary pull from the thrift store.
But wait, let's count the wolves. We've got the 2 eyes.
Yeah, this is Ethan.
Okay.
Me. This is Danny.
Ah.
This
And
is
being
God
obnoxious.
looking over us,
Okay.
praying that we find more dinosaur bone.
Oh, we've got another one in the eyeball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is that a reflection, or is that just a very small wolf?
I would assume that's a reflection. I don't know. Honestly, this is like a nighttime shirt for me. This is usually not a public shirt for thousands of people to see me in.
Well, you lucked out, Chad. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Quinn. Yeah, and Commander Argo has got a legit question. When they start looking for fossils deeper into the ocean, do they exist, at least before the Precambrian? So oceans are not typically great places to find fossils, because ocean rocks tend to be very young. I don't think there are any ocean rocks on Earth right now, like rocks currently in, under the ocean, that are older than, like, earliest Jurassic, like 200 million years old. Because the ocean floor is constantly being recycled. It comes out of these spreading ridges, and then it goes and gets kind of shunted under continental crust. And so it's like a conveyor belt. It's always going. Slowly, but it's always going. And so rocks on land can be far older than rocks in today's ocean basins, just because that oceanic crust is constantly getting recycled. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, there you go, Amaleth, yeah. Yeah. And Claire Burr is exactly right. The ocean is problematic because of the seafloor recycling itself, yeah. Yeah. And Rahab says, speaking of that, do you get many marine reptile fossils alongside terrestrial animals in states like Wyoming, given it used to be partially underwater? I don't know if we've got very many terrestrial animals and marine strata from Wyoming. We probably do. All the classic examples that I can think of are from, like, Kansas and Nebraska. Dinosaurs like Niobrarasaurus and critters like that. And some in California, too. All of our dinosaurs in California, for the most part, are from marine strata. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about Wyoming fossils to say that with certainty. That like we have marine strata here, where we also have dinosaurs that got washed out to sea. Clearly, like dinosaurs that lived on land, like pretty much all dinosaurs did, except for a few birds during the Mesozoic, like Hesperornis and co. But yeah, yeah. But we are very, very lucky to have, well, one of the world authorities on mosasaurs here on our crew right now. Sounded like gunshots over there. Wyoming. But yeah, yeah, we've got one of the world authorities on mosasaurs on our crew. So hopefully we can talk to Takuya another time. I'm not going to put him on the spot right now. But if you like mosasaurs, oh boy, that new mosasaur from Japan with the dorsal fin, he described that. So, yeah, yeah, we could talk about that another time, hopefully. Yeah. Bunch of fossilized shark's teeth they found in the area. Yeah, dangerous buttons. That would make a lot of sense. There's a lot of these rocks in Wyoming are marine. In fact, some of that like whitish sediment there. Actually, I don't know. That probably underlies, probably underneath the almond formation. But we've got the what's it called? Erickson Shale? Blanking right now. But above the almond formation, rocks slightly younger than the ones we're digging in right now. Those are marine, so they're from ancient ocean. When that ocean expanded and spread out across the land, about 70 million years ago, something like that. But yeah. And is coral old enough to be fossilized? Oh yeah, there's tons of fossil coral. Some of it goes back like 400 million years. The state rock of Michigan, state stone of Michigan, Petoskey stone, that is fossil coral. They used to call it genus Hexagonaria because it's kind of hexagonal shaped in cross section. These different coral bodies within that. I think it's got a different genus name nowadays, but I don't know. I don't work on fossil corals. Not the guy to ask about that. But yeah, and we're back in the field. Happy dig season, Danny. Thank you, SB. Feels like I'm back home. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. And Nell says, I'm surprised there seems to be no cattle roaming. So this isn't really good. It's not great rangeland. There's not a lot of stuff for the cattle. I guess they can eat the sagebrush, but there's not a lot of grass for them to eat. This is not ideal for cattle grazing. But yeah. I see Ethan just pulled up down there, so I'll probably be wrapping this up before too long so that we can get going here. But, yeah. It's been a good day so far. We've got some turtle bits and what could be another ceratopsian bone here in the quarry. Cross your fingers that we get more of this horned dinosaur coming out of this quarry, because it would be wonderful to have more material from it. It would be really, really nice if we got a decent skull out of here. That would be excellent. Yeah. Tell Ethan we said hi. I will, Nell. I will. And you'll see him later. And how accurate is this dating? So it's not as accurate as we would like so far, RK Shuttleworth, but we're working on it. Hopefully we can contribute to some more accurate dates if we manage to find a good ash date, a good ash layer here that we can send off and have dated radiometrically. So yeah, right now it's a little imprecise. We think these rocks are about 73 million years old, but it'd be nice to have a nice, solid, specific number on that. Yeah. But yeah. Boss man is back on site. Time to get back. Yeah, there he goes, Steely Town. And it is great to be out in the field again, Lee G. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah. Anywho. And have you gotten to use the soil book yet? Not yet, but I've got it here. Risa Degu. Yeah. In fact, I think everybody's going to be impressed with that because those things are pricey. Not the sort of thing we often have access to. So that'll be cool. when we write up a description of the site, we'll be using that so that we can get the actual color codes for these particular rocks. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be really cool. But yeah. And is it true that it's hard to tell ceratopsians apart if you don't have the head? Absolutely, Thesaurus. It's like it's so hard to tell. You basically might as well not even try. Although ceratopsians, their main differences are in their heads. Here, I'll show you again. Let's pull up that visual aid. But sometimes, if you're in the Hell Creek and you find big ceratopsian bones, you know it's Triceratops for the most part. There's my ceratopsians. There we go. So yeah, these horned dinosaurs, just the group that we're excavating up here. These are centrosaurians and chasmosaurians. We think we have a chasmosaurian here because the frill bones that we have seem more chasmosaurian than centrosaurian, but they don't match up exactly with any other ceratopsian. It's almost certainly a new species. Probably something kind of similar to like Pentaceratops, so kind of similar to this, we think. And that's what that animal would look like. I love this reconstruction because the skull is just so ridiculously large compared to the rest of the body. So we've got basically this part of the frill from this animal so far, and hopefully we can find more of it. That's why we're here. Yeah. But yeah, the post-crania of ceratopsians, nobody really studies them in depth because they tend to be pretty similar. Everything behind the head seems to be pretty similar across different ceratopsians. There will be differences in there, but like nobody focuses on that. Nobody seems to really focus on ceratopsid post-crania. So, and for many of these guys, like, we don't even have that much of the rest of the skeleton. The skull is the part that's easiest to preserve, and because it's got these big bones in it. That's the part that paleontologists get excited about. Ceratopsian skulls are the most, what we call diagnostic. They're the part of the animal that's evolving the fastest. And you get all of this wild variation here. And this is only a fraction of that variation, because with each one of these animals, they would look different at different stages of growth. So not only are they evolving over time, over tens of millions of years, but also during the animal's lifetimes. You know, their horns are changing shape and orientation and size. Their frills are lengthening. These epiossifications along the margin of the frill are growing, or they're fusing onto the edge of the frill, all kinds of stuff like that. So these are really interesting, really complicated animals. And we think that they did this purposefully, in the sense that they were evolving these crazy ornamental horns and frills primarily as a means to show off. So whether that's for sexual display, or whether it's for some sort of social thing, maybe it's, you know, to express their growth stage or something like that, and say, hey, you know, I'm still a subadult, or hey, I'm a full-grown adult now, that kind of thing. Still kind of figuring that out, but these structures, there's a general consensus now. We think that these are for display, mostly for showing off. Yeah. So yeah. And could find a fossil with at least the skin textures. Commander Argo, you're in luck. Yesterday, right after we got to camp, we went and looked at a hadrosaur site, duck-billed dinosaur that we have here that we're going to try and excavate this year. And there's preserved skin. There's fossilized skin on it. And I'm excited to show that off. It's not going to look super spectacular, but you'll be able to see that bumpy, kind of pebbly texture. It's pretty cool. So you'll be able to see what the skin of a dinosaur would have felt like. because we have it preserved. That's pretty neat. Yeah. So yeah. Again, it's not going to be super spectacular to look at. The animal itself is in these big sandstone blocks that fell down a hill, kind of like you see here. So these sandstone blocks that are kind of like just scattered across this hillside. We've got some big blocks like that. This really hard sandstone with just chunks of duckbill dinosaur bones sticking out of it, and pieces of fossilized skin on the surface of some of those boulders. So I'm excited to show you that at some point. It's going to be neat. Yeah. And what were the two different groups on that ceratopsian sheet, Ethan Jem? Those were the Centrosaurines, Centrosaurinae, right here. And then on the other side, the Chasmosaurinae. So these are two different groups of horned dinosaurs. Two different like subfamilies within Ceratopsidae. So they shared a common ancestor, but they split sometime in the Late Cretaceous and kind of went their separate directions. And just evolving all these new species all the time. There's actually kind of a ongoing, long-running debate among ceratopsian researchers, like how many of these creatures actually lived at the same time, how much is actual like diversity at any given moment, and how much of this is just one group of animals evolving over time, like as a lineage, where just a few million years later they look a little bit different, and then we give that a different genus name. We're still figuring out a lot of this stuff. You need a tremendous number of fossils to be able to demonstrate that kind of lineage evolution, that what we call anagenetic evolution, non-branching, linear evolution from one species into another over time and then into another, rather than one species splitting into two new species. Anyway, so with any luck, our work here is going to have bearing on that, and we'll be able to contribute some information to what's going on with ceratopsian evolution. So it's exciting stuff. Yeah. But yeah. Anywho, that does look like we're going to get rained on. I think now is a good time to start wrapping up this stream, because there is a little bit of rain incoming, and I want to be available to help with that. So let's see who else is live on Twitch right now. Let's see, go to watch, and yep, there's a raindrop. Let's see. Oh, PaleoStream is on right now. Let's go check in with... Or, you know what? Let's go right into Alveus Sanctuary. Yeah, that'll be cool. My channel. Chat. Raid. Alveus. Is it Alveus _ Sanctuary? Shoot, what was it? And you bet, Amelia Bedelia. That's what I'm here for. I'm glad you could be here. Yeah. I think it's Alveus. Nope, no underscore. Okay. Alveus Sanctuary. Alright, cool. Channel is follower or subscriber only chat, so follow if you like animals and animal sanctuaries. Yeah. Cool stuff. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. It's been so good to have you here. And I'm going to try and stream pretty much every day in the month of June, as long as I'm out here in Wyoming. Oh man, look at all that dust along the road. Yeah, now is the time to wrap this up. This is good. Anyway, I hope to see you tomorrow, everybody. You take care. Let's go check out Alveus Sanctuary. Bye-bye.